So on last term, we are discussing about access of non-local data. So you have seen, this is the example of Quicksort. Suppose, okay, we will explain with this. Suppose consider the case of C language. We have defined an array int a 10. Okay. Then we have defined a function int function 1, this function 2, we have main, body of function 1, function 2. This is C style of declaration of function. In that case, if you see the structure of the program in the memory, you have the code, then local data, and other information. Now you have the activation record. Now this area is stack. And when, suppose from main, you have activation record for main. You call function 1. Then activation record for function 1 is appended. But here we have defined an array A. So here we have an access link to refer this. Here we have also an access link to refer this. Apart from this, we have also discussed about other information in the activation record. One more link, that is control link. Control link is a link to the its mother procedure. Okay. So if you have to refer any information which is non-local to this function, local information is available in the activation record of this function. But if you have to refer any non-local information, then you will use this, means your control of execution will use this access link to refer it. Okay. And scope of, means variable visible for this very function is only local variable of this function, as well as the variable that may be referred through the access link. Okay. This is the visibility of variable. But you see, there is a case in other language, we can define function in nested form. Just see, this is your main. This is the main. Now this function, this procedure are defined in the main, part of the main. but this procedure defines in this queue. So if you are doing the processing, you are doing the execution of procedure S, then there may be a link to this queue as well as to this refer, to refer the information. Okay, because the variable defined in the main as well as defined here must be visible to this. But for P, you have a single access link to refer the global variable. Okay, and in Q, again you have a single access link to refer the variable of main. Okay, now suppose you define a function A. In this function you have defined B. In this function you have defined function C. In that case, the access link means then you must have the activation record like this. This is main area in the code, means here you have the code, after then you have the variables, a global variable, and then you in the stack you have activation record for A. Suppose you are doing the execution of C, then you have activation record for B, then you have activation record for C. Okay, so here you have link to this, here you have link to this, and here you have link to this. So if you have to refer any information here, you have to use this chain to refer the information, globally defined information. Okay, that will take time, means it is time consuming. Why? Suppose you, although all the variables are visible in this very procedure or function, but to refer the variable from here, first you have to try to access here. If it is not available here, you will use the access link and go to its mother procedure, again access link, and then you will find the variable. Okay, so this is time taking. So another technique is get introduced for accessing the variable, that is called display. Display is you may say an array of, we just replace the access link. We keep all access link in an array. Okay, references in array, and if you have to refer any variable, we can directly get the link to that very variable, that very area, and you can see here we have the example. Just see, here we have this is your display, this is display. So we have the locations to refer, these are the locations. You can directly refer, you can get the address, okay, address of A, address of B, address of C, you can directly refer. Okay, it is, and this is an array. In next slide it will be clear to you. See, all the displays are written here. Okay, and you can refer it. So this is the way how we can refer the non-locals. Again, the example in the book, you can see display is used. It is an array. At D0 you have the access link, reference of access, reference to access the globally declared name, and D2 has the access here. Okay, you will see here. Now for you just see the case. I mean, you just keep in your mind that how we go for the this quick sort example. We are doing the quick sort of 1 3. Then from here we will call partition function 1 3. In that case, display has 3 entries. Okay, and if you have you are processing this, then this entries get removed. If you are doing the execution of quick sort 1 3, this entries get removed. Means when partition function is get executed and it returns the pivot, this information is removed because we don't need this information, so it is get removed. Now you have the array that contains two information. One is a link to the global information where we have declared the array in which we are keeping the information that is to be sorted, and here a portion of array to sort. Quick sort 1 3 is a portion of array for which we are performing the operation of sort. Okay. Again, again from here, suppose we go for the upper half, means 4 to means if you see the activation tree, so we have to go for quick sort 4 to 9. Okay, in that case it is also get removed. You will have this 1 to 9 followed by 4 to 9. Okay, and this link is control link. We keep the control link. Okay, so this is now you can go through. Now you have the idea about the visibility of variable. Now you can see, you can go through about the parameter passing, call by value, call by reference, call by value result, means it is also called copy restore, and call by name. Okay, although these are applicable in procedural language, here we have the example. You can go through call by value or copy restore, call by name and call by reference is compared here. Heap allocation is, if you reconsider the program structure in the memory, the program structure we have it is like this, perhaps it is. We have the code, static data, that is global data, then stack and heap. Stack will grow in this direction, heap will grow. We have discussed about this stack. In this stack, we keep the activation record of various function for during their execution. Okay, and we keep on appending the activation record for live function that are in consideration of the execution. Now I have told you this memory area is used for dynamic memory allocation. So when you do the dynamic memory allocation, then heap is created. That dynamic memory allocation is get allocated in this area only, heap area. Okay, and it is at the tail of the segment. Okay, now what is garbage? Just see. Garbage is the memory area which has no use and remain marked as allocated in this heap. It is a garbage. Means suppose you have a pointer P for student type of information. So to write any information, then this P, at this P, this pointer, first you have to do the memory allocation, and suppose you have allocated the memory by malloc function, writing malloc size of P. And here you can do the typecasting student is P. So it will do the memory allocation in that heap area. Suppose student information can be stored in the in 20 bytes. So 20 bytes are get allocated. It must have some reference. This reference is assigned to P. P has this reference. And where P is get stored, if P is defined in locally to the function, means if you have defined as student P in the body of the function, then it is the we have area in the local data area where you can write this reference. Okay. Memory for writing the information related to pointer P is allocated in heap, but memory for writing that the reference of this area is allocated in local data area. Okay. It is clear? So now you have, suppose you have processed, it is temporary variable, and you have processed. After then, you have to use same process a particular student information, and you have to now process another student information, and you are not using another variable. You are again allocating P is student malloc, same function call. In that case, it will allocate new area, and in this new area, reference of this area is get assigned here to this P. Now see what happens with this. This is remain in the memory, but you don't have any link. And the memory management module of the operating system knows that this area is allocated for certain information. But now you don't have any means to refer this area. So it will become garbage. Okay. What is your duty? If you have if you have not used of this area, then you have to release this allocated memory back to operating system. This memory management of module of the operating system is responsible for managing the free space in your memory. Okay, so you have to release this back. So for that we have free or delete. In C we have free, in C++ we delete. When we delete, it is get released back to the operating system. If you don't do this and keep on don't delete or deallocate the memory allocated against the pointers, then that will create garbage, and the And if you keep on doing this, then it will become a garbage collection. So you have to handle garbage collection. Nowadays, it is very when you start execution, particular one thing more. Okay, one thing more. Uh, when you start the execution of any program, a segment or buffer is get allocated, and all the operation is performed in that buffer only. Okay, so when the function you complete the execution of program, then this your this very means control of execution will release after completion of the execution of the program. When you terminate the execution, this entire memory is released back to the operating system. In that case, this garbage collection has no not any effect. Otherwise, if you keep on doing the execution on Linux system, you will get problem of core. Core is dumped. This type of information, and in this that very Windows environment, you may get error that you don't have memory for further execution. You just go for the nesting of the a recursive function, okay, and keep on calling the recursive function. And each case you just create a memory, allocate the memory, and leave the memory. Allocate the memory, leave the memory. You will get this type of problem. Okay. So we have to avoid this garbage collection, because if you keep on doing this, your heap will grow in this direction, and you are keep on calling the function. There is a point the entire memory is exhausted, and you don't have space to call a function or to allocate the memory. क्या है? अच्छा, okay. So there is a garbage collector, okay, that will manage the garbage. Here is a very good example of dangling reference. You just see this is a code of C. Here I is the address of I is get returned. Okay, P should be P is, you just see this. Go through these two functions. There is a main function in which we have defined a pointer P pointing to integer information, and we are calling a function Dezl, which returns a pointer to integer information. The body of Dezl function is we are defining an identity integer and I assigned 2, and we are returning the address of this. What will be the value of this? Just see, this will call the function and this function will return reference of I. In activation record of, this is local to Dagel function, and in activation record of this, we are assigning value I equal to 2, and we are returning its reference XYZ. This XYZ will be assigned to this, but have you value 2 at XYZ? No, because when you get return this, the activation record of Dagel function is released from the memory. Okay, and when it is released, you don't have any information written here there. You will lose this information. Okay, null pointer assignment. Okay, so this is all about your runtime storage management. One thing more, there is a, now we have to keep 2 students from UG classes as a member of board of studies. Okay, there is a committee responsible for formulating the course curriculum and other examination related matters. So now we have to nominate 2 students. So you can say the name of 2 students of BTech 3rd year, because final year is going and you will become the most senior, and it is very logical to have 2 members from your year. So you can suggest me a name, 1 girl student and 1 boy student. So you just name these 2 students. आप बताइए किन्हीं 2 लोगों का नाम.
मोहित पांडे.
सर प्रियांशी रावत.
हाँ,
प्रियांशी रावत सर.
मोहित पांडे.
मोहित पांडे सर.
प्रियांशी रावत.
प्रियांशी रावत. ठीक, ये दोनों लोग BOS के मेंबर हो जाएंगे. ठीक, for suggestions. Now come to the next topic, that is the last topic of your compiler design, and this topic, in this topic we will discuss about the code optimization. Okay, C code optimization. Up to now you have seen that we can process the source program, analyze the source program, and generate equivalent sequence of 3 address code. Equivalent means that sequence of 3 address code have the same semantic as your program had. So now it is general translation. We go for, means we do translation as directed by the syntax. So it is called syntax directed translation. Now we have several redundancies in the generated code. We can identify those redundancies. We can remove those redundancies to improve the efficiency of program execution. Okay. So improving the efficiency of program execution is called code optimization. There are actually we have two types of optimization. One is optimization. One optimization is related to the general optimization related to the code, and we identify the redundancy and perform several more restructuring for improving the efficiency. We can go for the transformation of the code so that it may be effectively executed. Second is as per the hardware resource available for execution of that very program. Suppose a very small case, you have a program in which you have to do the increment of loop index by 1. It is obvious case that we have the programs in which we have loop index and we increment it by 1. And several processor has the instruction that to do the increment of registers. INC instruction are there. But some processor may not have this type of facility. Then if your processor has the facility to auto increment, in that case you can go for introduction of that instruction. Means you can use the infrastructure. But if your processor doesn't have that very facility, then you have to replace it by add instruction. Means suppose you have a index in I, then you have to write I equal to I plus 1. So this instruction you have to introduce in your code. Okay. So it means basically we have two types of optimization. One is machine dependent optimization that will consider the architecture of the machine. Architecture means programmer's view on the machine hardware, how it can be used, different component of the processor can be used. So on the basis of architecture, we can go for the optimization. Second is the machine independent optimization, where we find the general redundancy and anomalies. Okay. So other example of machine dependent optimization. Nowadays, we have processor that are capable for doing the execution of more than one instruction simultaneously. And during discussion of the computer architecture, I have told you that this is the duty of compiler to explore the implicit parallelism in the program and generate code to use the parallelism available in the hardware. So here we this is the duty of the compiler to explore the implicit to analyze the code for implicit parallelism, and on the basis of implicit parallelism in the code, it may generate the code in such a way so that maximum parallel execution may be introduced as per the availability of functional unit. Means if you have 5 functional unit, then there must be scope for executing 5 instructions simultaneously. So this is the duty of compiler. So for that, it after doing the extraction of the parallelism and on the basis of the allowable degree of parallelism, it will go for the rescheduling the instruction for their parallel execution. So for a particular execution of sequence, suppose it need to do the execution use the 20 instruction cycle. Now that very sequence can be executed in 5 or 4 execution cycles. Okay, instruction cycles. If we go for the overlapped execution, but see what is machine independent optimization. These are the sources of machine that we have discussed is the machine dependent optimization. Now we come to the machine independent optimization. There are several type of machine independent optimization, such as we look on the code and go for do the optimization. Like suppose your where is your 3 address code is generated like this: t equal to I plus 0, or t equal to I into 1, I into 1. So this instruction become redundant because the value of I is not being changed. The 0 is the identity for addition and 1 is the identity for multiplication. Again, okay, we'll discuss. So you can identify just by looking this type of optimization is called peephole optimization. Then we have some other technique that is such as loop optimization, local optimization, loop optimization. We will discuss. But in optimization, we have to go for the transformation of the code. I have just said we can reschedule the instruction. In the case of hardware, I have just told you. If you reschedule the instruction, then it may be cause the problem in the semantic of the program. So what we have to do? First, we have to do control flow analysis, then data flow analysis. Do these two analysis, we can ensure the semantic. Then we can go for the transformation. Okay. So during this discussion of optimization, we will discuss about control flow analysis, data flow analysis, and transformation. So optimization consists of these 3 operations. So see one by one we will discuss. First thing is peephole optimization. We can consider the entire code and keep the look on the code considering the small window of the code. And we apply, okay, see the different sources. First source is redundant load and store. Just see here. You have an identifier is loaded into register R0, and again we have the instruction R0, content of R0 is loaded back to the identifier A. In that case, these two instructions are redundant. So we may identify such type of redundant load and store and remove it. Okay. Unreachable code. A code is generated which is not part of data flow and control flow. Then that code is unreachable. In that case, that may be also removed. Flow control, just see, if you have at X, you have go to L, and at L, you have go to Y. Okay. So your control of execution will do the execution of this, switch to this reference, and again so you can replace it by Y. You can save the execution time of this and switching time from year to year. You can directly switch the control of execution to Y, reference Y. Okay. These are the peephole optimization. Now see some algebraic identity I have told you. X equal to X plus 0, X equal to X into 1 may be eliminated. Then we can reduce the strength of the computation. We can this multiplication, okay, we can replace by cheaper operation, like cheaper means addition, or we can shift operation. Suppose we have to multiply X by 2. What we can do? We can shift X 1 bit left. Okay. You can save the time for multiplication. This can be done in single clock, but multiplication needs several clocks. If it is multiplied by 16, you can just multiply, shift it 4 bit left. This type of suppose you are doing the execution computation this in a loop, X equal to X into I is loop index, then you can use the previously computed value in spite of recomputing it and add the X. Okay. I have told you increment, auto increment and auto decrement. Now see, this is about the peephole optimization. But what we this is P4 optimization. Just look onto the code and you can go for the replacement of redundant instruction, or you can make instruction more efficient for its execution. That is P4 optimization. But for general optimization, that is called local optimization, we have to first go for the control flow and data flow. We have to divide entire code into different segments. Okay, segment A, B, and we can decide that control will enter in this segment. Control of execution. Control means control of execution, and do the execution of all the instruction in the segment and then exit. It will not accept from the intermediate position of this segment. This is called basic block. So we divide the entire code into basic blocks. Basic blocks are the group of instruction in which control of execution will enter from beginning and do the execution of all the instruction in sequence and then exit out. Okay. Flow of control enters from the start, you just see, and exit from the end. It will not halt. It don't have any branch. So your code, 3-address code sequence is now divided into several basic blocks. And in each block you have several 3-address statements. The first statement of each basic block is called leader. For creation of the basic block, we have to identify these leaders. So we'll discuss this on next term, and on tomorrow you have the test quiz for your minor on unit number 3, means you will get total 20 questions. Among these 20 questions, you have 5 questions from unit number 1 and 15 questions from unit number 2. Okay, so tomorrow you have this quiz, and after this, in next week on Monday, we will have the quiz on unit number 3. There will be 10 questions. Okay. Then you ये जो कल का है आपका क्विज, वो